Hey folks, Ronnie Soud here with Soud Marketing.
Hi, I'm Kacie Conant, and I'm head of SEO and content development at Soud Marketing.
Right. And today we have an awesome, I think, timely, very important video for you. We're going to be talking about what is SEO right now as of summer 2025 with the explosion of AI. And we have Kacie here to discuss everything that we have kind of seen adapt over time. And we're also going to give a window into what's working now so that you get max visibility across all the search and large language models like ChatGPT, AI overviews, Gemini, Copilot, all of them. So let's dive in. So is SEO dead now, Kacie?
No. I think that it's actually had a resurgence thanks to, ChatGPT. Basically, I would say thanks to ChatGPT. I feel like,
Mm.
there's Google's AI overview, Perplexity. There's others out there, but the one everyone first started hearing about and using was ChatGPT. And that's really, I would say, given new life to the importance of SEO and changed the game a little bit.
I very much agree because you have everybody using something like Chat GPT now, but I don't I don't want to over focus, I think on that purely as a research tool because yes, people are using it. They are still using it in conjunction with Google. And so Chat GPT, it's kind of the new kid on the block, the song of the summer.
Mhm.
And that's what we're hearing about now, I think more just because of its newness and its growth. But Google is still very much top dog when it comes to market share.
Oh, absolutely. And well, Google's got a couple things going for it. One, the Google Business Profile. So for local
Hmm.
businesses, um, that's kind of right now its competitive advantage over one of its competitive advantages over ChatGPT or the other LLMs, because they don't have that type of system where businesses themselves are going in and
Hmm.
inputting data, events, offers. Um, Google knows a lot more about the local business landscape than any of the LLMs do right now.
I think that's a massive point that I want to clear up because people ask us a lot about, well, what about Chat GPT, right?
Mhm.
But you really have to compartmentalize this for your particular business to know how much Chat GPT is really going to affect it and maybe even affect it in the months and years to come. Because from what we're seeing, if people are looking for local service providers for home services, medical, professional services, what have you, Google is still where they go.
Oh, for sure. I would especially the way I think about it is kind of like within like your sales funnel. So
Hmm.
people who are really have high intent are still turning to Google. People more at the top of your sales funnel might be researching the general topics within your industry in ChatGPT, so you can still get some nice brand awareness there, but they're probably not yet looking for an actual product or a service provider like a local service provider yet. There's definitely still turning to Google for that.
Right. Yeah. And Google also still possesses, like you said, a lot of advantages that primarily come, I think, at the local level and
Mhm.
for local businesses. And I think the big one is the listing, yes, but the reviews that are attached to that listing, because ChatGPT just returns an answer that essentially you don't know what the credibility of that answer is yet or the credibility of that list versus with what Google provides from an organic perspective. You can see the reviews, the star rating. They have images on there of the business, videos, what have you. And so I still think that, like you brought up, I think that is something that Google is going to lean on heavily to give them a leg up.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a really good point. I mean, you can't fully trust the answers that you get in the LLMs, like a ChatGPT. I mean, they are reading the internet, and we all know there is accurate
Hmm.
information on the internet and there is inaccurate information on the internet. So yeah, the fact that Google has that direct relationship with businesses, and then you have actual reviews right there in the business listing, that's directly from the customer. That's, I would say, for local businesses, that's more trustworthy information.
I think so too. And I mean, I'm still a Google user, I would say, because of that. I, I personally, I don't like to, give my opinion really as gospel, because this is very much, I think, turning into a personal preference thing. But I still prefer Google because it gives you a wider picture of the business. And I,
Mm-hmm.
I feel more informed myself when I'm going through there and researching through Google than through Chat GPT.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I still have a little bit of a higher trust with Google because now ChatGPT, they will give you kind of the source, and almost cite their sources
Hmm.
a lot of times in the answer they give, and that's where they become relevant for a lot of businesses in terms of like brand awareness and stuff. But personally, I too kind of still like, okay, give me the list of the websites and I can choose where I want to get my information. Don't just give me the answer and tell me where you got it.
Exactly. Yeah, I still I have trust issues with that. So um so let's then talk. So I think we've seen that there's going to be a rise. There's going to be diversification in search, a diversification in how people get influenced in making a buying decision and researching decisions on everything, really. I think from travel itineraries to
Mm-hmm.
picking a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about how the active SEO has changed and kind of maybe where we were, what we used to do, and what we're moving towards, I would say, in a pretty rapid manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, traditional SEO, there was a big focus on, the technical health of your site. So, is it
Hmm.
is it fast, or images too large, kind of your schema markup, all that, and that is still equally as relevant. I don't think the LLMs, the resurgence of those, has really impacted that. Um, but in terms of keywords and content and backlinks, that's where I think there's been a little bit of a shift. So it's kind of like the SEO practitioners and marketers learn to kind of game the system.
Hmm.
So, there was a lot of keyword stuffing and content that was put out there that wasn't really that helpful or informative, but it was optimized for those keywords. So it was slowly climbing the ranks. And Google, to do right by its users who are actually searching, really wants to be serving up helpful content that is actually quality content, informative content, is answering people's questions, giving them the information that they're
Hmm.
searching for, not just a bunch of sentences, with whatever the keyword phrase that they searched. So there's definitely been a shift towards quality content, to where you really are explaining what it is that you do, how you do it. You're just providing actual information versus just basing your content solely around a keyword strategy. And then that goes hand in hand with the chat gpt and the llms, because they're not as keyword focused, because it's AI. So they're reading the internet and they're learning. So if they can't learn anything from your site because you're not
Hmm.
actually giving quality content, then they're not going to pull from it. And then the other thing I think is interesting, that really people started to kind of game the system, is with the importance of like backlinks. And that just became, there's just all these ways to get a lot of backlinks, but they're just from, BS sites. And so now, Google has more of an emphasis on real quality backlinks, and then
Hmm.
the LLMs, they're going to they're going to view your site in a better light if they're seeing that you're mentioned, not even necessarily a link, if you're just mentioned like on people's social media, on podcasts, on other websites. So it's kind of less emphasis on just the actual link, and
Hmm.
maybe more emphasis on just quality people actually talking about you and your brand or your business.
It's kind of like a popularity contest.
A little bit, yeah. It's kind
Then,
of
if
like
there's a lot of
if there's a
chatter
lot of
about
chatter
you.
about you,
Hmm.
then yeah, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, which it's um, a lot of people make buying decisions that way. Like, oh, I've
Right.
heard
Hmm.
from 3 different people that this was a
Hmm.
good whatever, so I'm looking into that. So yeah, it's a little bit of I would say like almost like referral based.
Right. All right. So let's. I want to pivot back and maybe give like a couple of tips about content here because um, everybody kind of broadly talks about content is king. It has been for years. It is the
Mm-hmm.
bane of how basically everything on the internet moves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we kind of lightly touched on it up to this point, but I think sort of two things about content. So if you're a business owner or if you're managing a website and you need to expand your marketing strategy to gain more visibility on search and on ChatGPT and the LLM models, depth of content really matters. And I think how smart your content is really matters as well. So
Mm-hmm.
you hinted on a couple of things. I think people's search behavior is going to start to change. And so instead of doing searches, like plumber near me,
Mm-hmm.
or a pediatrician in, say Jacksonville Beach, Florida, or something like that, I think people are going to start to put in further qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, you need to have those qualifiers on your website if you offer them to then get visibility on the site. And so, a few that like I've seen come top of mind is um, like plumbers in Jacksonville that offer financing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's getting more specific.
Mm-hmm.
I think plumbers that fix XYZ if they've already identified what the issue is. So before people were just looking for a plumber. Well, now they're looking for a very specific plumber that either offers a feature or has documented on their website that they do a specific task.
Mm-hmm.
And you need that on your site because if it's not on the site, then you don't have a chance of search engines associating you with those things. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So you bring up a good point that yeah, our the way we search has changed
Hmm.
drastically. I still find myself searching kind of like an old school, like 10 years ago, like how we started to search in Google.
You still
Only
using
on Google. And
Dogpile?
yeah, in ChatGPT, I'm much more, but people are becoming much more conversational. You're
Right.
asking like kind
Hmm.
of a full-on question,
Hmm.
almost something similar that you would like text to a friend. And especially even with voice to text or voice searches,
Hmm.
it's becoming much more conversational. So yeah, and with even with Google's AI response, I mean they're smart. These systems are very smart. So you
Exactly.
have to really be explaining everything about your business and everything that differentiates you from your competitors, everything that you offer. Like there's no more you don't want to have any surprises. Like you want to tell people, if you can get there same day, if you offer financing, um, whatever those little things are that you do, you want to make sure all of that is on your site so that the search engines can answer the questions that people are putting in or serve you up in the results when somebody is searching for something like you said, a plumber who offers financing or a search like that.
Right. And I mean, I think it's important to remember too, like this stuff, not SEO, but ChatGPT, the usage of that, this is in its infancy. So the system's not only going to get smarter, but people are going to start to get smarter in how they use it. And
Mm-hmm.
so as a business owner, kind of the repeated time investment or money investment to perpetually sculpt the content on your website to bring in the people that fit you best, I think is going to be paramount. In I don't want to give too far of a date out there because this stuff changes so fast. But
Mhm.
over the next year, I think the development of that is going to be a paramount, right? So
Yeah, I
I
think there's no more shortcuts to having quality content on your site. If you want to rank in Google or have a chance of showing up at all in the
hmm
ChatGPTs of the world, um, you have to have good content and you have to have a fair amount of it. I mean, you don't um, have to have like, an over bloated site by any means, but you want to be whatever your customers, your prospective customers could be, any questions they could be asking, anything they would want to know about your
hmm
service or even your industry. And that's where I think a lot of people, you got to share information about your business, but then if you really want to go deeper into content, then you start, positioning yourself as the expert in the industry. So, whatever those topics may be, make sure you're answering all those questions, and you can do deep dives into that. And then that is, like you were asking about earlier, it's never gonna hurt your SEO. It's gonna do nothing
right.
but set
hmm
you up for success, um, no matter how these things change. Like
hmm
ultimately, people are looking for information. These search engines are trying to connect the information with the people. If you are providing the information, you're gonna win.
right. And we've been, we've been beating that drum for a long time. One of the things that I think we do better than most um, is when it comes to content production that you head up. I think we do a fantastic job of positioning a client within their market.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that makes that happen, I think, is the amount of time that we put into discovery sessions with them, digging into their business model, getting a real good understanding of how they started to grow, what their differentiators are versus the competition, like you said. And discussing with them, okay, of all of your client, like who are the best clients that fit you, and writing
Mm-hmm.
for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Writing for that particular audience to draw more of that in for
Mm-hmm.
the business. I think is something that you do really well, and we do well as a process.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
to
and
toot our
I
own
mean,
horns here,
I know,
but
right?
that's
It's hard for businesses and people, even marketers, even somebody in a marketing role within a business, because you are so close to the business and you
right.
know the ins and
hmm
outs. And especially if you've been in it a long time, it's hard to remove that knowledge and think, okay, if somebody was coming to my website for the first time, what
hmm
questions do they have that I'm not addressing? What information do they want to know? Um, and that's where we come in. And I'm naturally a very curious person. So when I'm on your website, I'm reading it and I'm thinking, okay, but what about this? What happens if this happens? And what's the process for this? So that's where I think we're able to help plug a lot of holes. Which you got to think about it too. So I'm coming in with fresh eyes. So is Google, all the search engines. So
hmm
they don't know your business yet either. You have to tell them about your business and your industry.
That's right. Good point.
Well, eventually AI will probably know more than all of us, but we're not there yet, thankfully.
Heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so what are like one to two takeaways from this video that you'd want to leave people with, as it relates to how SEO has changed and what they should be thinking about over the course of the next 6 months to a year?
Okay. If you are a local business, I
hmm
would say your Google business profile. That is key. Google is, even I was in it today. They've updated the system. It's got a whole new look. It's more user friendly. They are investing a lot in the Google business profiles, the Google business listings. It is right now a free offering to local businesses. So you need to be in there. You need to make sure that all your information is up to date. All your services are listed. Your hours are accurate. Put in photos, put in videos if you can, and then start doing the update posts. If you do events, make sure every event is on there. If you do any kind of sales or offers, input those. If you don't do any of those things, then just start posting about your service lines, and
Hmm.
the things that you offer. It wants to see. I mean, I would post once a week. Google wants to see that activity, and
Hmm.
Google's putting a lot of emphasis on that. Which, I mean, right now when we Google, we're all seeing a combination of probably the AI answer result,
Right.
the map, and then our
Hmm.
typical, ads and our typical organic search. Who knows how that's going to change? Those organic listings might be gone at some point in time, but they're not going to give up the Google business listings because they're
Right.
the only ones that, I mean, Bing has something comparable, but let's be honest. So yeah, I would
Their
say your
market
Google
share
business.
isn't Google's. Yeah.
No, it isn't. So I would say your Google business profile, if you are a local business, for sure that needs to be top priority. And
And
then
it's free.
it's free. Yeah, it's
Everything
free.
about it's free. You
Yeah, it's
just need to
nothing but
put
your
the effort in.
time to
Yeah.
go in there and optimize it, and just put a reminder on your calendar once a week, go in there and do some kind of a post, and maybe
Hmm.
once a month go in and upload any new videos or photos you have. And they do not have to be professional videos. I mean, it can be an iPhone. If you've got social media, whatever reels and stuff you're posting to social media, you don't have to create new content for everything. You can utilize what you're creating for other outlets. And then for everybody else, I mean, I just say, quality content. Like, read through the content on your website, and or maybe ask a friend who doesn't know
Hmm.
anything about your business to read through it and say, okay, now can you tell me what it is that we do?
Hmm.
And if they can't easily describe your business and your service offerings to you, then it's probably time to revamp your content.
Very good. I have one that might be a little more of an outlier.
Okay.
So Casey, I think definitely took the top two for right now, and probably for the next year. But I believe video is going to begin weighing heavily,
Mhm.
uh, maybe after 1 year from now. I think they're going to start to lean on that more, for the businesses that are consistent about making video. So one of the things that I'm telling people now, just like we're doing here, we're making a video now on a
Mhm.
particular topic. I think people have to find a formula and find a budget for video that fits them.
Mhm.
And then you have to find, um, a consistent pattern where you can produce them, a consistent style, and keep it going. Just because I think with what Casey said and adding video into the mix, you would essentially be covered on all bases, in the optimization front.
Well, and to be
And
clear, you're
where
talking YouTube, right?
I'm talking, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
specifically,
Yeah, because for
because.
those who don't know, Google owns YouTube. So Google is
Mhm.
going to push YouTube and lean heavily on YouTube. And as much as I hate to say this, because I am a writer at heart, people don't read anymore, and it's only going to get worse. Like, people, so video, yeah, that's a good one. I don't like it because I like words, but I agree.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, we said two tips. We gave a bonus. But I do think, if these items are not currently in your monthly marketing budget, or in your P&L, I would heavily consider starting to add them. Talk to a few different agencies and consultants, get pricing, find someone that, you feel aligned with. If you need help, if you don't have an in-house team, and then start marching down the road of buttoning up, what we've discussed here today.
Mhm.
Because over the next year, like we're expecting a lot of shift. It's going to be very positive for the people that are investing, time and funds. I
Mhm.
think it could be very detrimental for those that are ignoring this. And
Yeah,
it's
they're going to
still
have a lot
very
of catch up to play.
accessible to. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's more expensive to play catch up than it is to kind of consistently invest time or invest funds, um, in a consistent manner for ongoing production. That's always your best route for safeguarding.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Because I mean, Google or all the search engines, LLMs, there's going to be a trustworthy component to a
Hmm.
long history of content versus if come in new, you're the rookie. Like they don't, they're going to pull from places that have been producing quality
Hmm.
content for a while, versus trusting the new kid on the block.
And all rookies have to pay their dues. If
Yep.
it's a website or on a sports team, you got to pay your dues to the veterans.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
okay, anything else? I think we hit this pretty A to Z in
Mm-hmm.
terms of where we were, where we're heading, what's going on today, and some really good tips you could put into action right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for watching. If you guys have any specific questions or want to know how we might be able to help your business gain visibility across search and the AI models, don't hesitate. Click the button below, visit the website, fill out a form, and let's chat. We'll see you later.